There's 100 million different men that she could go sleep with, yet she decides to sleep with your boyfriend. Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of the Storytime Society. I'm your host Jamie, and I'm so happy you're here. I'm so glad you're alive. Today's theme for this episode is cheating stories subreddit. We love a good cheating story. Do we though? I don't know. Let's get into it. The title of the first story is My Boyfriend Cheated with My Older Sister. I, 20 female, recently found out that my boyfriend, 21 male, was cheating while looking through his texts with someone named Mommy. But I also found out a few hours ago that it was my sister, 27 female, who he cheated with. I'm not sure what I should do with this information because I thought family stuck together. When I first found out he cheated, I went to my sister to talk to her, and she took me out to get my nails done and get lunch. But now I know she lied, and I'm not sure what to do. Should I break up with my boyfriend and confront my sister, or keep acting clueless? Me and my boyfriend were together since freshman year of high school, and I'm scared of losing him. But at the same time, I feel like I can't just stay with a cheater. Update: I made dinner plans with my family for Friday and invited my boyfriend. I'm going to confront them then, and I'll let you know how it goes. Final update. I'm sorry for the late update. It was a very rough night. I invited everyone to dinner at my place, and when everyone sat down to eat, I stood up and told everyone that I needed to say something, and that's when I told everyone what happened. The look on my sister's face was absolutely priceless, but my boyfriend started saying it was a lie and that I was acting crazy. This is when I pulled up screenshots that I sent to myself from my boyfriend's phone, and I showed everyone. My mom was furious with my sister, and my dad didn't really seem to care about the whole thing. My mom told my sister to leave and said she needed to have a talk with my boyfriend. This is when things got worse. He started saying that I made it up because I don't get enough attention, and started insulting me. And this is when my dad started to step in. My dad started screaming at my boyfriend and told him that he was absolutely disgusted with his actions and that he didn't want him anywhere near me or my sister. After that, me and my now ex-boyfriend went outside, and I officially ended things after telling him how awful of a person he is. And for my sister, I'm not sure what's going to happen. She hasn't texted me back, and I haven't heard anything since. I can't imagine what that would be like. I'm not really sure that I would tell everyone to go to a dinner and then confront them. I feel like I would just want to confront them alone and be like, you did this, I know you did this is the proof that I have, and we're done, goodbye. I would probably be in a public area though, not at my apartment, because I wouldn't want to have to kick anyone out and have to deal with all that drama. So I would probably do that. But I mean, obviously to each their own. However you want to deal with that situation, it's not really a common situation, so I can't imagine how hard that would be, or trying to figure that out. I would also just cut, don't talk to your sister anymore. I would just never talk to my sister again if that happened. I mean, what the hell? Also, not you consoling me after I found out that he cheated, and then you're like, oh, yeah, oh, okay, let's go get your nails done and let's go to lunch. You can just look at me in the face like that? That's really scary. The top comment says, gather evidence, then confront her and inform your family. You already lost him. You don't need to be in such drama at 20. Just move on. 100%. At 20 years old, if someone's cheating on you with your sister, never talk to that man again. And your sister is 27, so she knows better. There's 100 million different men that she could go sleep with, yet she decides to sleep with your boyfriend. She's also 27 years old. Not saying 6-year difference is bad, but for me, as a 27-year-old, a 21-year-old, I would never even think about ever touching a 21-year-old at this age of my life. I just never would. I don't know. I just would feel so weird. Maybe that's because my boyfriend's brother is 21, and the difference between my brain and his brain are just eons apart. Because so much happens in your early 20s, you just grow so much and your frontal lobe develops, and my frontal lobe is surely developed now. And I honestly miss the ignorance. Ignorance is bliss. I miss not knowing things. I wish I didn't know what I know now. I know I don't know everything, but I still have a lot to learn. I wish I was still just ignorant like I was when I was 20. That's just not possible. That's just not reality. Jim Jumanji commented, you deserve so much better. Walk away from that pathetic excuse for a boyfriend. As for your sister, gather all the receipts and confront her in front of your family so they can see her true colors and support you in this situation. Assuming, of course, that they stand by their words about family sticking together. If your family isn't supportive, I hope you have good friends who can help you through this. You're only 20, far too young to be stuck with a jerk like him. 3,000%. I didn't read the comments before the update. Obviously, everyone was telling her to do this dinner with the family. I'm not sure I would have given that advice. But again, to each their own. The title of the next story is My 29 male wife, 27 female, has been working from home the past few months and has started having her high school ex over a lot. I told her this is unacceptable. Am I in the wrong for this? Hey everyone, I know that the title may sound confusing without the background that I'm about to give. So, ever since COVID started, my wife has been working from home. My job never let us do that, so I've still been driving to work every day. She has a friend that she occasionally hangs out with. He's been invited to hang out with both of us before, too. He's nice, he's fun to hang around, and he's pretty cool. I've had no problem with this. My wife made me aware pretty early on that she dated him in high school. She said that they dated their freshman and sophomore year. They never slept together, but they did mess around. They started reconnecting as friends during their senior year. At that time, he had a girlfriend and she was starting to see another guy as well. She claims that after they broke up, there was never anything romantic between them again. When COVID started, my wife said that she would be able to work from home. I was glad and I was really happy for her, as I knew it would be easier and even save gas. She said that her friend was going to be able to work from home too, so they may meet up sometimes to go over their work and help each other. They both work in a similar field. One day I came home and I noticed that he was there. I thought nothing of it really, as my wife told me about this. They both had their computers and looked like they were working pretty hard. For a while, it was like this, and suddenly, a few weeks in, I would come home and they would casually be hanging out and having fun. Sometimes they would be playing a game, sometimes they would be drinking, sometimes they would be eating. I started finding this just a little bit weird. It seemed as though he was getting more attention than me and she was having a better time with him than me. And then one day when I came home, it was the final straw. They were both on the couch and her head was in his lap while they were watching TV. I waited until he left and then I had a talk with her. I was fuming. I yelled at her and told her that her actions have been unacceptable and there's no reason that she should be laying with a friend like that. I expressed how I felt. I told her she's been showing him more attention than her husband and that it seemed like they were having more fun together than we do. Not to mention that they had dated before and they had fooled around. She got really upset and said I had no right to tell her that she can no longer hang around someone. She was mad that I seemed to claim that she was cheating on me with him and swore that she was not and would never do that. She said that all they were doing was relaxing, that it was not wrong to lay her head in his lap. The last 2 days, he has not been at the house when I got home. She says that she has not seen him since our talk. I apologized for being so angry about it. She doesn't seem like she has really accepted my apology because she's been really quiet around me ever since. How do I make things better? Is she cheating? How do I handle things between her and this friend? No. I don't like that she's saying, like, gaslighting him. I don't know if I would call that gaslighting, but saying that there's no reason for her to not be able to, like, lay with her friend like that. I don't think that you should be doing that. That's really weird to me. Why would you need to be cuddling with your friend of the opposite sex? Hanging out is a different story. It's like, okay, if you trust your wife, but is it really necessary? You guys need to hang out every single day and spending basically all your time together. And then by the time you get home, it's like, are they supposed to be working then? Or were they just both at home doing whatever and lollygagging around together? Because that's the part that kind of like working together, whatever. Okay, you're coworkers or not coworkers. They're not coworkers. They don't even work in the same job. I don't know. But I feel like I would just be a little off put by every single time you come home, they're doing something different. Like they're playing a game or they're laughing together, watching TV, having snacks, like, and then you come home and your wife is laying her head in someone's lap. That's so weird. I hate that. I would definitely start to feel a little jealous that someone got to spend all of that time with my partner. If I came home and I saw a girl laying her head in my boyfriend's lap, World War III would be started immediately. The top comment says, I agree with you. When you said they had computers out and were working hard, I felt it seemed innocent enough. However, a woman putting her head in some guy's lap, no. Boundaries are being crossed. It's not appropriate and she knows it. Would she be okay if the situation were reversed? Probably not. I wouldn't. No. Stick to the stuff you know. If you want extra content weekly, head over to patreon.com/storytimesociety and become a member on there for extra content. Love you. OP said, thank you. I don't like how everyone is automatically saying that it's wrong that the guy is over there in the first place. Sure, it's weird that they dated, but that was very many years ago. I had no problem when they were working, but what they did took it too far. 1000% I agree with that. As a 29-year-old and a 27-year-old, I think that you can kind of say, okay, you dated freshman and sophomore year of high school. It's not like you guys were loves of your lives, Romeo and Juliet, and star-crossed lovers. I don't think that's a big deal. I think when you're that age, you can be like, you can put that aside and be like, okay, that was long enough that it doesn't really matter. Also, you were so young. How old are you in freshman year? You're like 15 years old. That's almost 15 years ago. So that's not the part that I would be concerned about. I wouldn't care. I trust my boyfriend so much, I wouldn't care. It's just the intention behind it. Obviously, as you're coming home and seeing it progress over time, that would be scaring me, and I would not like that. Someone said, "You are wrong. She would never be okay with your ex coming over to work in your house. Also, social distancing means no one comes over. You're being blind." I don't think that they're really considered exes at that point. I guess I would consider my ex from when I was 15 years old an ex. Liz said, "Sounds like you're making assumptions about the nature of their relationship. OP says they work in the same field. Why is it weird if he's there to collaborate about work?" 100%. I agree with that. If you can work remotely, you can collaborate remotely. It's going out of the way in a pandemic that makes this not only unwise, but highly suspicious. They don't even work at the same company. And in most cases, if you're in the same field and not working at the same company, then you're competitors and probably violating some NDA or privacy policy. So you're completely naive in the situation to defend this. I mean, I think that working remotely in COVID, you want to have some human interaction. It's such a big change. You're used to going to work every single day. So I think it's normal to do that. There's an update, so we're going to read it. My 29 male wife, 27 female, has been working from home the past few months and has started having her high school ex over a lot. So last week I posted on a few pages about my wife spending time at our house with an old ex that she used to have from high school. He'd been coming over and working from home with her ever since COVID started. At first, I thought nothing of it. They were just simply helping each other with work, and then they started to hang out and stuff more. When I caught her laying down with her head in his lap, I had enough. I told her he could no longer come over. She was mad and took offense to this, but agreed. Most people here agreed with me that it was sketchy for her to do this. I was made aware that he could still be coming over during the day and leaving before I get there. I ended up buying a camera that I could set up and hide while I'm at work. I put one in the living room and one in the bedroom. The first day they were set up, I saw nothing unusual. The second day was when it happened. The ex came over. At first they were just working, but then he started to get pretty touchy with her. It progressed until they headed up to our bedroom and slept together. I was shocked. I wasn't sure what to do. As soon as I saw my wife again, I questioned her if she had been seeing him anymore. She denied it. I told her that I had cameras installed in the house. Her face changed completely. She knew what I had seen. She immediately started crying. I told her she needed to leave the house. She tried to apologize and explain, but I wasn't having any of it. Since then, we have talked to each other once. I told her that I don't see how anything can happen besides a divorce. She said she doesn't want that and asked if I would do couples counseling one time before making that final decision. I reluctantly agreed. I don't expect it to work, and I'm mainly doing it to humor her. I'm still looking and trying to contact divorce attorneys as I'm typing this. Boo, tomatoes. Are you kidding me? That's so annoying. It's like we all want to trust our partners. And it's not like this story makes me trust my partner any less. It's just so annoying that you can trust someone so much, and then it's like, wait, should I trust them? And then you find out that you shouldn't trust them. But I guess that's how all trust gets broken, right? You have to have the trust to have it be broken in the first place. Top comment says, "Be careful with counseling. When a coworker caught her husband cheating, he apologized and begged her to stay. So she did if they went to counseling. 4 years later, he leaves his wife, my coworker, because he was in love with his mistress. The only evidence she had was from the first affair, and her lawyer said that since they went to counseling, it couldn't be used in court. Not sure if this is true, but if you ditch her and use the evidence you can get a divorce and most likely avoid alimony and potentially have her pay your lawyer fees." Is that how it works? I didn't know that. I thought it just worked by like you use that to be able to say that you should be getting divorced. I don't know though. I didn't realize that if it actually affected if you would be paying alimony or like how much you would be paying unless you signed a specific like prenup or something. This person responded to that and said, "Not necessarily true, as spousal support in many jurisdictions is deemed no fault, so it doesn't matter who's cheating." I don't know much on the alimony portion, as my coworker's ex-husband dragged the divorce for 3 years until she said no alimony due to running out of funds, so the divorce could be final. But I believe in some states you don't have to pay if they cheated and you have evidence to prove it. What states? What states is that in? Let me know. I can't believe you saw her having sex with another man and you still talked to her. She had sex in your bed with another man. She doesn't respect you. She only loves what you can provide for her. The title of the next story is The Day I Caught My Fiancé Cheating 2 Days Before Our Wedding. So I've told this story on Reddit a few times, but I figured this subreddit is the obvious place to get it out of my system. For reference, I'm now 31 male, but this happened in 2014 when I was 26 and my ex-fiancé was 25. Female, let's call her Barb. We met in college and dated for 3 years prior to our engagement, with a wedding date booked by the 4th year. Neither of our parents are well off financially, and she was attending grad school, so the financial responsibility fell on me, which totaled $20,000. That was paid in full 4 days prior to the wedding. Leading up to that nightmare of an evening, we had our typical mid-20s relationship issues with bouts of poor communication, excessive drinking on weekends, and an occasional fight over trivial bullshit. Aside from that, we had a great relationship and spent a ton of time together figuring out post-college life and planning for our future. As I said above, the wedding and reception venue cashed my check 4 days before the wedding, and the contract stated this was non-refundable. Over 120 guests were confirmed. A couple dozen from out of state, tuxes and bridesmaid dresses were fitted and paid, and everything was falling into place. Now let's get to the inevitable shitstorm of events that you're all interested in before I keep rambling. The night in question was a Friday evening in our new apartment that we had moved into a few weeks prior, and we decided to have about a dozen friends over to pregame and head out to the bars in town. Included in this group of friends was my buddy whom I'd known since kindergarten. We'll call him Ricky. Barb and I had spent a lot of time with Ricky over the last 3 years, and he was definitely one of her favorite one of my pals, which is generally awesome when your significant other gets along with people in your social circle. The night started at a local hookah lounge, which was bring your own beer. So by the time we left there, a 1/5 of Jameson and a 30 rack of Yangling were gone and everyone was buzzed. The next 3 hours were spent between 2 to 3 bars that resulted in the entire group devolving into a drunken, belligerent mess. Once the bars closed, most people went home with the exception of myself, Barb, Ricky, and another couple who came back to our apartment for a nightcap. Once back at our place, the couple only lasted another 20 minutes before calling it and making their way home. So I was left with Barb and frickin' Ricky. Earlier that night at the hookah bar, I noticed Barb checking her phone more than usual, and simultaneously Ricky checking his phone after she would lock the screen. I almost put 2 and 2 together, but why would I worry about them planning anything shady 2 days before I was supposed to marry this girl? Back at my house, I was fairly sober and noticed all the booze was gone, so I was contemplating picking up a couple of 6-packs from a local spot that stays open until 3 a.m. Barb and Ricky were definitely on the liquor and tanked, but there was no reason to suspect anything sketchy would occur if I ran out for 20 minutes. Once in my car and preparing to exit my apartment complex, I got a sinking feeling in my gut that something wasn't right, and it completely freaked me out. So I called my best bud, and he agreed to be picked up and joined me on the beer run and accompanied me back to the apartment. After grabbing some Bud Heavies and returning home, we walked up to the sliding glass door that led to my living room that had a sectional to the immediate right. We opened the door, took 2 steps inside the apartment, and my ex-fiancé was completely topless and mounted on Mr. Ricky, effing tonsil deep down each other's throats. The amazing part of the situation was neither of them appeared to notice that my buddy and I were 10 feet away watching their sloppy, drunken escapades. After 7 to 10 seconds of attempting to comprehend the current situation, I lost it. I dropped the booze, threw her backward off Ricky, completely topless, and landed 2 hard right hooks to Ricky's eye and cheek, while he was still laying on his back with the most terrified look on his face. To put things into perspective, I am 6 foot, 220 pounds, and have played hockey my entire life. He's 5'6", 140 pounds, and he's a runner. Immediately following the assault with my fist, Ricky started snoring. Didn't know this was a thing, and was asleep for at least 5 minutes while I was losing my mind over the situation. Without thinking, I called her parents about 10 times until they woke up and demanded they come to pick up their cheating daughter immediately. Their house was only 5 minutes down the road, so they walked in shortly thereafter while I was laying into Barb about her unforgivable, disgusting decision. Her parents frantically walked into me screaming at Barb, Ricky assed out on the couch, and my buddy mediating the situation. The first thing I told everyone was the wedding was fucking off. I demanded the ring back and said I'd rather lose $20K than spend the rest of my life with a cheating B-word. Her parents spent the next 20 minutes attempting to talk me out of it and occasionally defending Barb's actions, saying things like, "Why can't you forgive her?" or "Isn't it too late to cancel the wedding?" Meanwhile, Ricky woke up and the right side of his face had swollen to the size of a grapefruit and his left eye was completely shut. Kicking him out of the apartment was tough because he was too drunk to drive, so I called his brother that was 20 minutes away and spent that time laying into Barb, Ricky, and her parents. Surprisingly, I was able to stay level-headed enough to express my thoughts in such an extreme state of rage. The few times I've been this upset in my past, my brain felt like it was scrambled and I had a hard time condensing and forming my thoughts into logical statements. But not this time. By the time Ricky's brother picked him up and Barb's parents shuttled her home, I had systematically picked apart any objection, opinion, or plea for reconsideration expressed by everyone in the room. It felt really effing great. I'm not going to pretend the following months were easy and everything worked out in my favor. 2 months later, the pharma company I worked at decided to lay off my entire division. I had racked up thousands in credit card debt to pay for the wedding, unemployment haunted me for 5 months, and I was diagnosed with major depression. Life was effed up for a few years, and I wouldn't wish that on anyone, but now I'm 31, things have settled down, and I couldn't be happier. Thank you for letting me get this off my chest. Crazy. It's always crazy to me what parents will defend that their kids would do when they would never, ever, ever let their kids stay in that relationship if it were the other way around. And that's what I always don't understand. It's like, how are you not thinking this through? You're not going to like put yourself in a different position and be like, oh, well, if that was my daughter and he had cheated on her and she had just walked in to find her effing her best friend, would you be like, oh, honey, you should forgive him? Absolutely not. And I know for a damn fact that you would not say that. You would be like, let's get out of here and never talk to this man again. So, like, why can't you just apply that? I get that you love your child, but your child needs to face repercussions and consequences for her actions. I wonder how long they were hooking up for. I wonder if this was like an ongoing situation or what the situation was, because obviously he said that he thinks he saw them texting together at the hookah bar. 2 days before the wedding, though, you really want to marry someone that you're cheating on? That's what I don't understand. It's like you are going to make that decision to go through with the wedding when you know that you're cheating on this person. Why would you want to do that? I'm sure she probably told herself that she would have stopped once they got married. Like, oh, I'm going to stop once we get married, you know? The top comment says, I can't believe the parents tried to defend her. I think that's ridiculous. I hope you found someone better than her. OP said, yeah, my buddy that walked in on them with me actually started to get quite defensive when he heard both parents trying to talk me out of it. He jumped in without hesitation and defended me, so that was pretty deep. I found someone about a year later whom I dated for the next 4 years, but she wound up being an emotionally, verbally abusive workaholic who was severely disliked by my friends and family. I bailed on that relationship last June and haven't had any desire to re-enter the dating game the last 10 months. Wasting 8 years with 2 women is an exhausting experience. Happily single, I shall remain. The title of the next story says, my brother and my ex-fiancé framed me of cheating so they could cheat together. Hi Reddit, I don't know how to start this out because I never expected to ever make a post like this, but here we go. I, 31 female, just had the weirdest thing happen to me. Sorry if this is long, I have a lot to say and English isn't my first language. So 7 years ago, me and my fiancé, 34 male, were in a loving relationship since college. We met when I was 24 and were friends for about a year before becoming a couple. For the sake of this story, I'll call him Alex. He was 27 when I met him and he already was employed as a lawyer. We met through a mutual friend, and after a while we got together. We were in a relationship for about 5 years. In late 2017, he proposed to me, and we were set to get married in 2018. Throughout our relationship, I always noticed that he was more in tune with his feminine side, but that was what I liked about him, because I hate overly manly men. Early into our relationship, I introduced him to my older brother, 37 male, and I'll call him James. Right off the bat, James and Alex really hit it off, and at first, I thought it was really sweet that my two favorite people were bonding because I had a really good relationship with my brother. I had known for a while that my brother was bi, but I paid no mind to it because he was still my brother. 2 months before the wedding, I noticed that Alex was pulling away from me, and I got concerned. I started keeping a close eye on him because I thought he was cheating on me. Unfortunately, my suspicions were confirmed when one day I got an angry call from my mother demanding I go to her house. Obviously, I rushed over, and I was greeted by James comforting an inconsolable Alex on the couch. I tried to rush to him, but James stood up and blocked me from him. I yelled at James to ask what he was doing, but he stopped me and he spoke. I know you've been cheating on Alex. He showed us the screenshots. Obviously, I was puzzled, so I asked, "What do you mean? I have never cheated." Suddenly, James threw Alex's phone at me, and I saw hundreds of messages with a profile that looked like mine but wasn't me, and a bunch of receipts to hotels all over the city. I was shocked, but before I could say anything, I was shoved out of the house and told to never return. This crushed me beyond anything I have ever experienced. I lost all the most important people to me that day. I didn't leave the house for months, and admittedly, I stalked Alex's profiles because I needed some kind of closure. A couple months after being no contact with any of my family because everyone cut me off, an unsaved number messaged me a video of James and Alex together that dated back all the way till 2017. I was heartbroken, and I tried to reach out to anyone who would listen, but everyone had blocked me. I didn't even know until about a week ago that James and Alex had been openly in a relationship for about 6 years. After this revelation, I decided to get myself into therapy to help me figure out how to navigate all of this. That brings me to a week ago. I woke up and had 78 missed calls and over 60 messages from my mother and almost 45 messages from my father. Something in my gut told me not to reply, but curiosity got the better of me, and I dialed my mother's phone number. Seconds after I called, she picked up, and all I could hear was uncontrollable sobbing from my mother. Through her sobs, she managed to tell me that one night, one of my cousins drunkenly confessed to helping Alex and James frame me so they could come out. The next day, after my cousin sobered up, they pressed him for more information and basically told them how James had paid off his tuition to make fake screenshots and profiles to frame me and simply couldn't pass up the deal. My mother confronted James and Alex. They tried to deny it, but my mother threatened to cut off financial support. She didn't tell me too much about the conversation, but it was basically the same as what my cousin said. She asked to reconcile, and this is where I may have been an asshole, but I told her to get lost and to never contact me again. It's been a couple hours, and I've thought about it, and I don't know if I might be the asshole, so any advice is appreciated. Thank you for reading. To just cut your family off right away after that, I probably wouldn't be like, oh, that's probably framed messages. I feel like that's not something that you would ever think about in that situation, because who on God's green earth does that? Who on God's green earth fakes a bunch of messages to say that you cheated when they know that you didn't cheat? That's just crazy, right? Like, they both were in on it and they were like, oh, you cheated, so I'm going to make your family think you cheated. I don't understand. And then what? 2 days later, you're going to be like, okay, we're dating now. That's a little obvious to me. I don't really know. I'm a little bit confused. I feel like there's some puzzle pieces missing in this story that I wish I had more details to. The top comment says, the betrayal and false allegations must have been heart-wrenching. I'm so sorry. Not the asshole. You were deprived of the right to be heard. Instead, you were assumed to be at fault and shoved out and cut off by your own family, who chose to believe someone else, your ex. These people don't deserve your presence in their lives. Keep them far, even if you forgive them. I just don't really understand why you would cut off your family member for them cheating on their partner. I would understand being mad. I would also be mad at my sister if she cheated on her partner, but I wouldn't be like, I'm never talking to you again. Goodbye. I'd be like, you probably need to go see a therapist and work out this, why you cheated and why you decided to have this long ongoing affair. But I would never be like, get out, I'm never talking to you again, and then be no contact. I don't know. That's a little strange to me. Not the asshole for how you reacted. They cut you off and didn't let you explain it to prove innocence. I bet under closer inspection, the dates and times would have crumbled with conflicting witnesses and time-stamped messages. Your ex and brother are scum. While I accept that it's harder to be bi and homosexual, it doesn't justify cheating. People who use others and justify cheating with sexuality are still cheating scum. Take the time as it's the plaster being ripped off again. It will come back and haunt you a little, but know that you're not in the wrong. They're now facing the music. The opposite of love is indifference, so be indifferent to those who wronged you. I'm just not really sure why you have to blame someone and frame them for cheating to come out. That's what I'm confused about. Why are you framing someone for cheating to come out yourselves? You can still come out, and you don't have to say that. I mean, I don't know. I'm confused. But obviously, I agree. She's definitely not the asshole. And the way that she reacted to her mom wanting her back into her life is completely understandable. I wouldn't want to be back in that person's life either if they just immediately cut me off because I cheated. I don't agree with cheating, obviously, but people make mistakes. Even if she did cheat, which she didn't, which makes it even worse, people still make mistakes, and it's also your family. So, like, you're going to cut them. I would understand the person that was cheated on cutting them off, but you're going to cut them off? That's the end of the story time. We're going to move on to the advice segment. So if you ever want unprofessional advice from me, of course, I will help as much as I possibly can. There's a Google form in the description below that you can fill out and give me as much detail as possible. I also have a Google phone number, and it's 561-264-7017. If you want to call and ask me on the phone, and you can leave a voicemail on there, I would absolutely love that. I would actually love to really transfer everything over to phone calls so that I can play your guys' messages and hear the story from you guys and then give my feedback. And I feel like that would just be a more enjoyable experience for me and you guys and just everyone watching. And I think it would be fun. This advice question says, am I overreacting about him and his ex? Hi, Jamie. I love you so much. I hope this story gets to you soon because I need advice. I love you so much. And I'm reading hopefully as soon as possible. So recently, me and this guy just started talking. I'm going to call the guy Jay. I had gotten out of a healthy relationship 6 months ago. It was a mutual breakup before me and Jay started talking. I knew Jay for a long time, just through mutuals, and honestly, I thought he was cute, but we weren't close. I had this very close friend, and she knew Jay, so I was telling her that he was very cute and definitely my type. She was super excited and asked me if I wanted her to put me on with Jay. I obviously said yes. Anyways, we eventually started texting. He was funny and very nice at first. We talked for about 3 weeks before I invited him to help me sell plants at the flea market with my grandparents. My grandparents sell plants and herbs at the flea market, and I wanted to help them. Jay agreed, and I was super happy. He showed up on Saturday and Sunday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. to help me sell plants. I introduced him to my grandparents as just friends for now, and he was very helpful at the market. On Sunday, he went home after 6 p.m., and I called him that night. Somehow the conversation of our past relationships came up. I think he was asking me why me and my ex broke up months prior, and I said it was a mutual breakup and I just didn't see a future with him. Jay understood, and then I asked about his past relationship. This is where things get a bit weird. He just told me that he got out of a 1-year situationship almost 2 months ago. So when we started talking, he just got out of the situationship a month prior. This raised the red alarms in my head, first red flag. So I asked why they never officially dated because I also knew the girl, but I didn't know the girl and Jay were in the situationship. I honestly don't remember the reason why he and the girl never dated, but I just remember the reason being a little bit weird. He also told me that the girl was super crazy and they both didn't treat each other the best in the relationship. Red flag. So I did not question it. He then proceeded to tell me that his ex texted him and asked if he was talking to me. He said yes, and she said okay. The conversation ended there. He then told me that at the end of the day, she then randomly texted him if he had any food. They don't even see each other, and at this time, she had a boyfriend. He told me that he never even opened it, but he wanted to tell me about it. I was obviously a bit annoyed. Lots of questions were running through my head, like, why don't you have her blocked? Why are you still in contact with her? I asked him those questions, and he said, well, before we broke it off, we promised to still remain friends. And at the time, it seemed like an okay response to my question. Red flag number 3. I was still a bit annoyed and proceeded to say, that's still weird though. You guys don't even see each other at all. Why is she suddenly texting you asking if you have food? Jay got really defensive and a bit upset with me, which is red flag number 4. He told me that I didn't know her like that and he knew her for a year. He also said that she wouldn't do something like that and told me that I was talking bad about her. I was super confused and asked, what did I say? All I said was that was weird. He told me that I was talking bad about her, and I told him he's acting weird and offensive. He said to me, if you and I were no longer talking and a girl I was talking to was talking badly about you, would you want me to defend you? Red flag 5. I was super confused and didn't know how to respond to that question, and then I asked him, do you still like her? He was silent for a few seconds, and then he said no. It was silent on the call for about a good 2 to 3 minutes before I hung up. I texted him saying it was getting late and I should go to bed. He said goodnight. I woke up at 6:30 a.m. for school with 10 new messages from Jay. He texted me an hour later after we said goodnight, I hope you aren't mad at me. He was begging me to wake up so that we could talk. He texted me a whole paragraph talking about how he and his ex stopped talking and his trauma with his other girls. He texted saying how he liked me way better than his ex and we had a better connection than him and his ex. Basically 90% of the paragraph was about his ex and other girls and the other 10% was about me. It was way too early for this BS. I was way too tired and annoyed with this whole situation, so I didn't respond right away. I was 100% convinced that he and his ex were still into each other. I obviously felt bad for her boyfriend, so I sent him a message explaining the situation about my side of the story and her message to Jay. Her boyfriend was confused and he was very sweet. I told him that I didn't want him to get stuck in the middle of the whole situation between his girlfriend and Jay. He understood and thanked me for telling him. I don't know why I told him. I think I was just upset and sad with the whole situation. I don't know if it was right for me to go text her boyfriend, but I felt like he should know. P.S. They broke up a couple of days later. Later that day, I sent a paragraph to Jay saying I wasn't upset at him because his ex texted him. I was more upset at him that he was defending his ex when I hadn't done or said anything bad about the ex, then proceeded to basically tell me that I was wrong. I told him that I was kind of doubting if he liked me or not. I told him that we aren't even official and I didn't want to be in a relationship consistently worrying about him not being over his ex. There was more, but it was a very long paragraph that I wrote. He told me that he understands, and he was telling me that he only wants me. He also then kept listing reasons on why he didn't want his ex. I was so tired of this, but I also liked him a lot. I asked him if he would wait for me. He obviously said yes. I told him maybe in a couple months, 6 or more months. If he was still waiting, then maybe we can come back to this. He agreed and told me that he'll use that time to think about his feelings for me and his ex. I was devastated over this. Basically, Jay's ex made her friend come tell my friend to tell me that I needed to stay out of her situation and to stop texting her boyfriend. I was obviously annoyed and didn't want to say anything to her because why is she making her friend send a message to my friend so that my friend can tell me? I told her friend that if she wanted to talk to me, then she can say it to me instead of having other people do it for her. Anyways, 3 months later, I haven't spoken to Jay since. I told him that it isn't going to work. My best friend sent me Jay's TikTok. I was a bit confused, but still pressed on it. He was doing this trend, rating all the girls he used to talk to on a scale from 1 to 10. The first girl he rated was obviously his ex. He rated her a 9 out of 10, saying how much he liked/loved her, and he misses her. In the background photo was a picture of a box with all the stuff she gave him. And then the next girl was me. He rated me a 4 out of 10. He said that I was crazy and one of the worst girls he ever talked to. There's more, but basically what he said. What do you think? Is he an asshole? Was I right about him not being over his ex? Is this his payback? And am I overreacting about him and his ex? He's obviously an asshole, and also the way that this is a huge, which I'm glad that you noticed the red flags, but this is usually a big sign when someone is talking shit about their ex, especially a man, and they're saying, oh, she was crazy. Red flag. Such a red flag, because she most likely was not crazy, and most likely he did something to make her act crazy. But also, if he definitely showed you how he was going to talk about you outside of your guys' relationship and when you were over, because he's doing this video on TikTok saying, oh, this ex is a 9 out of 10 when he talked shit to you about her. So also him getting defensive about you talking, not even really talking about her, was crazy, because he literally told you that she was crazy and all of this stuff and that he doesn't like her anymore. But of course, the biggest red flag is constantly talking about your ex. If you're constantly talking about your ex, especially a situationship, like you didn't even date her and you're still talking about her all the time, when you're talking to someone new, stop talking about your ex. I understand how it can be a little bit hard sometimes. Like for me, when me and my boyfriend started talking, I had just gotten out of this relationship. We weren't really talking, but we had met and we were like starting to hang out. We weren't like anything official or anything. I mean, we did hook up, but whatever. I didn't cheat. I was out of the relationship and then we hooked up. But it was very soon after, and I recognized that. But it was just a different situation for me because we were in a relationship for so long that was on and off, and we technically weren't even in a actual relationship for the last 2 years. It was just such a confusing situation. So like there is very nuanced. It's not black and white. There's a lot of situations. Okay, whatever. Anyways, I don't even need to explain that part. I had just broken up with my ex like 2 weeks ago. And so I think I was bringing him up a little bit too much, and I'm so sorry about that. Okay. And my boyfriend was like, you talk about your ex a lot. And I was like, wait, really? I didn't even realize that I was talking about him so much because that was all I knew for the last 4 years. This was the person that I had been dating on and off with, like so much drama, so much toxicness. My life was like almost like slightly revolving around him and our relationship and us being up and down. So I was like, oh, wow, I didn't even notice that. I'm so sorry. And he like never talked about his ex at all. that's a green flag. Like, don't talk about your ex. I was definitely exhibiting red flags because I for sure shouldn't have like immediately started talking to someone new after I was out of this relationship. It was just such a confusing thing. But we didn't start dating for a while. I still like talked to other people, and red flag on my part. And I recognize that. So if you are talking to someone, all they do is talk about, if they even bring up their ex without you asking, I find that very weird. You shouldn't be bringing up your ex like unsolicited unless you guys are having that talk like, oh, what was your past relationship like? And why did you guys break up and all that stuff, which are valid questions to ask. I don't feel like you need to necessarily ask those questions when you're getting in a new relationship unless you really want to. But otherwise, if you really don't care about like their past relationships, don't even bother asking. I don't think it's like a necessary thing to ask, but I always want to know a little bit about someone's past before getting into something with them. And I always kind of want to know like how they talk about their ex or what happened with their ex to end the relationship. I think that you should just ignore this kid. You're not overreacting about him and his ex. He's obviously just doing that to get to you. He knows that you would see that and he wanted you to get upset about it. Maybe even he wanted you to probably reach out because saying you're a 4 out of 10 when he is rating the other girl a 9 out of 10 after he just had talked crap about this girl, like obviously he's just a toxic guy and he needs to get his situation figured out. But it's very clear to me that he's just very immature. And it's a good thing that you didn't end up getting in a relationship with him because from the start, he was exhibiting so many red flags. And I'm very proud of you for being able to point out those red flags and see those red flags. But you were definitely right about him not being over his ex. If he's making that TikTok saying, I miss her so much, I loved her so much, he was definitely lying to you saying that he was over her and he wasn't. That is going to be the end of the episode. I hope that you guys enjoyed. I love you guys so much. Thank you for tuning in to another episode. Let me know what you thought about those stories. As always, I want to hear all of your guys' feedback on the stories. And if you have advice for the advice segment as well, leave it in the comments. The more the merrier. It's a rainy day here in Florida. I'm loving it because it hasn't been rainy in so long. It was literally so hot in the past couple weeks and it's been so annoying. The water levels are so low in the ponds in my neighborhood, in every pond that I've like driven past. It's crazy. We needed rain so badly and I need it to keep raining because I miss rainy days. I can't even get over the fact, and I feel like I take it for granted because obviously we have amazing weather mostly every single day. But like I I don't want it. I don't want it. Give me a different weather. Give me something new. I feel like I live in a simulation sometimes because I wake up and it's the same weather every day. And of course, I love like a sunny day, but I feel like it really makes you realize how much you need shitty days to appreciate the good days. Because if you're just every single day is sunny, I start to take it for granted and I almost start to resent it because I'm like, please give me some rain, give me some type of different weather, give me some different scenery. Please, I need it. I'm so sick of it. I'm so sick of Florida. I'm sick of how it looks. I'm sick of how it is. I'm sick of the weather. I'm sick of I need to move. It will probably be another year or two. Oh, sorry. I'm itching my nose. It will probably be another year or two until I end up actually moving because, I don't know. We have stuff to figure out. And we haven't even been at our full lease at this apartment and I don't want to move again because I just don't. So I definitely want to, I want to move states, but I don't want to move apartments. I wish that I could just, take this apartment and move it to a different apartment. But we're not going to move for probably maybe a year or two, okay? But I really hope that we do because I really want to move somewhere. I still feel like we need to figure out where we want to move for sure, though. So the next couple of years, that's what we'll be figuring out. Yeah, that's all. I love you guys so much, and I'll talk to you in the next episode. Bye. Love you, sissies. Love you guys. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.